Have you ever sat down to do one simple thing, like send an email, and somehow ended up fixing a tech glitch, checking your inbox way too long, deleting spam, and 40 minutes later you're completely scattered and wondering what just happened? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. In today's episode, we're diving into why ADHD brains chase distractions, why everything feels urgent in the moment, and the hidden emotional drivers behind it. And most importantly, I'll share ADHD friendly ways to step out of the urgency trap and gently bring your focus back to what matters most. By the end of this episode, you'll feel less scattered and more equipped to notice the cycle without shame. Welcome to the Self-Loved ADHD Woman's Way podcast. I'm your host, Jen Barnes. If you're an ADHD woman entrepreneur, ADHD adjacent, or ADHD-ish, you've come to the right place. We'll dive deep into the unique challenges you face, from the inner turmoil to the outer obstacles. We'll blend neuroscience, IFS, and somatic healing, and explore practical strategies to help you navigate the world of entrepreneurship with ADHD with greater ease and effectiveness. I'm glad you're here. Hey, it's Jen. I'm so glad you're here. Before we get into it, I want to share that for this episode only, I've actually scripted it so I could stay on track while sharing about the stream of distraction I experience. Because I know myself well enough to know that if I don't have a script for something like this, you'll get way more detail than you could need or possibly ever want. And that might even be learning this. Normally, I like to speak more organically, so it feels more like a conversation. But today, I did script what we're about to talk about so that I can stay on track and make sure you get those tips at the end. So here we go. I want to start with a story because if you've ever sat down with a clear plan for the day and somehow found yourself fixing 3 tech glitches, checking email way too long, and chasing tasks that weren't urgent, this is going to sound and maybe feel familiar. So this morning, I sat down with my plan: send a welcome email, finish content for my VA, and get my podcast ready to post. Totally doable for a moderate energy day. But then I got a notification about a non-urgent tech issue. And because I don't want to let people down, I jumped in. And that led me into my inbox where I noticed podcast title mismatches, a book order that triggered me to check my Zapier setup, spam to delete, and before I knew it, 40 minutes had gone by. I finally sent the email, but I was stressed, dysregulated, right? Scattered and frustrated. That's what we're talking about today. This ADHD cycle of distractions, why everything feels urgent in the moment, and what we can do instead. So let's start here. Why do distractions feel so urgent? For me, a big part is emotional. I don't want to forget. I don't want to let people down. And if I see something that could disappoint someone who's paid to work with me, my brain goes into do it right now or else you'll fail. That's the people pleaser wiring so many of us ADHD women carry. It's not weakness, it's survival. Many of us grew up masking, overfunctioning, trying to stay ahead of mistakes. So, of course, when a new task pops up, it feels safer to do it right away. Not to mention, I don't know about you, when I didn't do those things right away, then didn't do them or did do them, but waited, it became a much bigger deal by the time I finally got to it. So sometimes we might even be trying to eliminate work in the future. And once we give in to doing this task, even just once, we reinforce the cycle. Our brain learns, oh, urgency equals relief. I certainly experienced that today. There's also the brain wiring piece. Our brain's limited access to dopamine drives us towards novelty and urgency because those things have dopamine inherent in them. Kind of, I mean, it's not a super accurate scientific way to say, but I think you get what I'm saying. Like when we do those things, we experience dopamine so they can be self-motivating, things that are novel and urgent. And so then when we get a new email or a notification, that little red dot, red berry that we see on our phone, that little hit of dopamine makes it irresistible. Then there's working memory. I often describe working memory like sticky notes. ADHD brains don't have as many sticky notes and they don't stick as well. So when something pops up, your brain goes, do it now or it'll fall off the sticky note forever. And then executive function, our brain's CEO. For ADHD brains, the CEO can't always prioritize super well in real time. So when 10 things show up all at once, they all feel equally important. So instead of sorting, we chase. I certainly felt the chasing energy this morning. And by the end of it, we're scattered and stressed, or AKA dysregulated, and wondering where the time went. And the cost, it's not just the 40 minutes we lost, though that's annoying. It's how we feel afterward. Annoyed, frustrated, guilty, scattered. And when everything feels urgent, the nervous system is constantly on edge in our fight or flight response. And we start to believe the story, I'm unreliable, I can't focus, I'll never catch up. And I'm just going to say cancel, cancel, because I'm not taking that on. But that's not the truth. The truth is your brain is wired for urgency, novelty, and emotional pull. It's not broken. It just needs unique systems to work with it. So what do we do? A few ADHD strategies that I lean on when I remember to use them are don't start with email. So, and I want to say this, right? Like email is designed to be a rabbit hole. And for me, I need to save it for later in the day. And some people are like, no, I've got to look at my email first thing in the morning because otherwise I miss stuff. Whatever works for you. I recommend you have a dedicated time when you do your email, like a specific window to process it. For me, that cannot be first thing in the morning because that's when I'm in my best headspace to do creative tasks like planning my content and recording videos. And so I don't start with email because then I get distracted into all these different things. And sure, one of the things this morning, finding out there was an error in my Zap for a book, I was able to stop them from shipping two to someone. And so I'm paying twice, right? So anyway, that was a nice catch. And yes, sometimes that saves us, but also probably looking at it 2 hours later would have been just fine. So it's important that we have a system or just an idea. It doesn't have to be like this big formal rigid thing of when we're going to look at our emails. And that can be first thing. For me, it's not. Then have a capture system. So lately I've been using a notebook as my planner. A month or so ago, I was using a planner and stopped using it. So now I'm on a notebook again that I it's almost one of those, what do they call them? Bullet journals, they used to call them. It's been a while since I've heard that word, so I don't know if people still use that. But basically, I made my own planner out of a notebook. It's a like fancy notebook too, so it feels awesome. But anyway, I digress. I like to have that nearby, so when something pops up, I can just jot it down. So you can do that. Have something nearby. So then, if you have this notebook or planner or even scratch paper, sticky notes, whatever it is, when something pops up, jot it down. That way your brain doesn't scream, now or never. Then make sure you are grounding first. So if we start our tasks dysregulated. So what do I mean by that? In our fight or flight response or our shutdown response. So we feel anything less than, it doesn't always have to be calm, but maybe we feel like we're more in flow or we feel ready. If we instead feel anxious or stressed or in our fight or flight on edge, like, that kind of energy or any kind of shutdown energy, it's going to be incredibly hard to focus. Distractions are going to win every single time. So taking even 2 minutes of breathing, stretching, walk up and down the block, or other kind of movement changes everything. Then, if you find yourself getting distracted or wanting to do something else, check for avoidance. Like sometimes I'm not just distracted, I'm actively avoiding. Like a task can feel big, overwhelming, or scary, and then distraction is easier. Breaking it down into the smallest step to start with can just help us get started. And then from there, we can be on a roll and keep going. And last but not least, self compassion is essential. It might even be one of the most important parts, not just for what's going on now, but for your future self. Think about it. When you are shaming yourself or yelling at yourself or like, you got to just work harder, whatever messages you're repeating that you heard from your past, instead of having compassion and being like, yeah, okay, this is where I'm at today. You're, you're not going to be able to focus because you're going to be in your fight or flight response. But then also, your brain is going to start to associate doing tasks with shame. So then, why would you ever even want to start tasks in the future? So, practicing self compassion, and if you're like, Jen, I hate myself, right? My self talk is awful. Then for you, self compassion it's going to be a practice, and it is for everybody, really. It's a practice of saying, oh, that didn't go how I wanted to, or oh, that's not my first choice of how I handled that. That's certainly what I said about my morning. Like, oh, that's not my first choice about how I would have started this day. And that's okay. Sometimes we're going to get distracted. The win is noticing it sooner or noticing it all and gently bringing ourselves back. So if you find yourself in these rabbit holes, please know you're not failing and you're certainly not alone. You're working with an ADHD brain in a world full of distractions, whether it's our phones or email, which we now have on our phones, notifications on our computer. I don't know about you, but lately I'm getting like notifications from everywhere. I'm like, it's too much. Stop. It's too many things. Right. And so, like, we're in this world full of distractions with our ADHD brain. So the goal isn't to eliminate them completely, though I have been better about marking things as spam rather than just deleting emails and turning off notifications rather than just ignoring them or stopping them. But rather, the goal is to notice this cycle sooner, to step out of the urgency mindset, just even name it like, oh, okay, my brain thinks this is like top priority right now when it's not. And then gently come back to what matters most. And if you want a little bit of extra support with that, I created a free guide called the 5-Step Taskmaster Plan. It's designed to help ADHD women move from scattered to focused without relying on willpower. You can grab it on my website at jenbarnes.org, or I'll put the link in the show notes, or if you're catching this on YouTube, it'll be in the description. And thanks for being here. And if you're finding this useful, make sure you like or follow or subscribe to make sure that you get access to new episodes as they come out. Thank you so much for being here with me. And I'd love to hear, what's your biggest distraction rabbit hole? Is it email, social media, your phone in general, or something else? Send me a message and let me know. Until next time, let's be gentle with ourselves. We've got this. Take care.